Oh, we're live! Finally, we're late, but it's fine. Fashionably late. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you, Blake and Sabrina, for joining me in the first episode of the Last Scare podcast. Excuse me for sounding awful. I am just now getting over COVID, so I
That's right.
might sound a bit bad, but no worries. But yeah, we're here. We're here to talk about what we love about horror. We're here to talk about what brought us to horror in the first place. It's super exciting. Blake, how are you doing tonight?
Good. I'm really excited to get into this. I feel like I don't have too much of an outlet to talk about horror. That's why me and Sabrina binge on Shudder all the time, a bunch of different horror movies, so we can
Yeah.
finally get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, Shudder's great. I love Shudder. I'm on it all the time. Sabrina, I know you've been taking a lot of new dives into horror, discovering new movies. How's that been for you?
Yes. Oh my god, it's been like like honestly, I would say like a breath of fresh air. Like I always kind of like was just like a casual fan, and then once me and Blake met and like got together, I was like, and he was like, I'm into horror, and I was like, oh okay, you know what, like why not? And now it's like when we first found out about Shutter, I think like Blake was like, oh, I'll keep it, you know, in case whatever. And I was like, no. I was like, you know what? I was like, we should really like. I was like, there seems to be like a lot of cool movies on here, so like, let's just binge them all.
Because
So
I
like,
think we
whenever.
just did the free trial for forget what it was. I don't know if it was the first Evil Dead, but it was something that we were just
No,
going to
it
do the
was
free
not
trial
for
for.
Evil Dead. I think it was for.
It was some marathon we were doing, but it ended up going really well. So we were like, let's just keep it. We can do a horror movie every other night or something.
Nice, nice. You have to check
Yeah.
out the new VHS. We talked about that.
Right.
We
She
did
has
the
not seen the other
drive-in.
ones. I know that. So I
Yeah,
haven't even
yeah.
seen most of the third one. I saw parts of it and I was like,
You can skip the third one. It's fine. But
Wait, of what?
VHS.
VHS.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, they're something.
And hello, chat. I'm glad to see you guys joining in. Ready for the first question. I want to ask you guys, Blake, I'll start with you. What was like the first time that you could say, okay, yeah, I'm really into horror? What kind of brought you into the genre at
I,
first?
I started very young when it came to horror. And surprisingly, it wasn't anything kind of geared towards my age. The first horror movie I really watched was Freddy versus Jason because
Nice.
I was on YouTube all the time, and I think it was just during the remake renaissance, like the new Halloween. I think is what got my attention. I was like, "Who's this Michael Myers guy?" And I think my parents were like, "Don't worry about him." But of course, on YouTube, I was like, "Who the hell is Michael Myers?" And Freddy and Jason, all those, because that is around the time where I think all those characters really came back to the spotlight. And I stuck to the originals because I couldn't really go to the theater to see the new ones at age
Right.
8 or 9, however old I was. And Freddy versus Jason was cool. And my current best friend right now, we got to know each other in elementary school because he's the only other little kid my age that's like, oh yeah, I know Freddy and I know Jason and Michael and all that. So there was some bonding there, and that was the only person I could really be like, hey, have you seen this one yet? And we'd both be like, we're not allowed to, but like we'll find a way, like something. Yeah, it's those characters will always have a special place in my heart just because they really did get me into horror.
Of course, of course. I actually have a funny story about how I got started into horror. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. This is the first time I'm really telling people about it, actually. So, fun little scoop about me. I started horror because of YouTube, and there was a YouTube channel because I was too scared to watch Saw, really, but there was a YouTube channel
Oh.
that did claymation remakes of every single trap. So I binged those, and then I went into horror from there.
Oh
It
wow.
is the weirdest way to get into horror, but that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a bunch of little animated clips of those guys too. If I don't know if anybody out there will remember them, but my friend also watched them. It was Angry Alien Productions, those little 30-second bunnies
Oh
shorts.
my god.
I don't know if anybody remembers, but they did one for Freddy versus Jason, and I was like, this is genuinely funny. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, I still like it, but this movie isn't as funny as the bunnies version.
That's amazing.
I gotta find that because I don't think they still make videos, but I'm sure the website is still up.
I remember a time of horror where like oh man, I remember when there were like compilations of just like all the scariest parts of the horror movie that I'd
Hmm.
watch because I was too scared to go to the theaters. I grew out of it, obviously,
Hmm.
but man, those clips like that. And there was also a YouTube channel that showed how they made all the effects at home. and they'd make little short horror movies with them as well. So that's another reason, because I love special effects in horror. The Thing is a big inspiration for me. We just talked about the Stranger Things makeup in the newest season that looks incredible. I love practical effects, but that does lead me to another question. What do you guys think is like your favorite kind of horror movie? Also, shout out to Seth Morrison joining us once again. Hello. And first horror movie, one from the 70s. That's a great time. It's a great era for horror. Absolutely. But yeah, what is your favorite kind of like, genre of horror, or your favorite ones that, like, if you see one that comes up, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go see that no matter what?
Man, I can't speak for Sabrina, but I do like the over the top, like the exaggerations, like so much more blood than humanly possible. And
Oh no, it's not that.
we did just watch all the Evil Dead movies, so that's probably
no, that's not what I mean. When I say like too much, I feel like you're not. When I tell you that, when I watch stuff on my own, like you don't. I don't know if you fully get what I mean.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes there's certain video like movies I'll watch and I'm like, this is too much, and it's not the blood, it's not the gore. It's. I'll give you an example. So I watched X. I did not like it. I wasn't a fan. And it was like everything else was fine, but there's just one scene that I was like, that's too much. I was like, I don't like when horror movies go to that route, where it's like the creepy, like too much kind of like, I don't know how to describe it.
I feel like I know what you're trying to say, like the
Is
uncomfortable.
it the scene when things first go horror? When she confronts the filmmaker boyfriend?
No, it's when she's in the bed with the girl. That freaked me out. I was like,
really?
I feel like it's the invading personal space. Is kind of what I'm trying to say.
That was
like
the scariest part for me.
Too much.
It wasn't like, oh my god, like, I hate that. It was more like, it was like her like touching her. I was like, that's weird. I was like, I don't know. I don't like the weird.
It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was like, that's too much. Like,
yeah.
The one I didn't like in the new, when we watched the remake of Evil Dead, there was one scene where she was like in the basement. She like said something to her brother when she was possessed, and I was like, "That's weird." I was like, "That's weird. That I don't like weird things like that." Huh?
She said a lot in that scene.
You know what I'm talking about.
Man,
I know exactly the lines.
The line was just weird. I was like, I know she's possessed, but like that's her brother. It's weird. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina, I do have a question for you then. So your introduction, you're kind of new to the horror world, right? This is kind of.
I would say so. Like I would casually like watch stuff, but like because like when you guys were talking about like the earliest like I would like watch like Halloween and everything here and there, but like I think the horror movie that kind of got me and like I was like, wow, that's a scary movie, but I love that movie is Jeepers Creepers. Like that's stuck by me.
That was my grandma's favorite. I love that.
Like
absolutely.
Those two, like the second one, like I remember this. I always tell Blake like this scene where he's on the bus in the second one freaked me out as a kid, but I was like, oh my god, like that's so. But the first and second one are just so good that I was like, I think that's what made me was like horror is so good, and then like that's I think is my earliest like memory to like a horror movie.
Yeah, Mike, I will ban you for Morbius being the best horror movie. I will.
So I'm sorry, Jayla. What were you asking me?
I was gonna ask you like, what would you say is like, for at this point, what kind of intrigues you the most about horror, or even older horror, or what you've learned as you've been going these marathons from Shudder?
Of like what do I learn through like horror every time I watch a horror movie?
Yeah, is there anything new you've learned about the genre, or new things that you appreciate of the genre, new things that you look out for?
So I think, like, even like the categories on Shudder, if you like go like if you're searching for a movie, the way that they like categorize everything, that like I think there is like horror is just a genre itself, but I feel like there's a genre within a genre of it. Whereas like a slasher,
absolutely.
To this, and I thought it was only like slashers or like just that's it. But like, there's so many that I was like, wow, okay, I didn't know that was like just another genre of horror within horror, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I learned. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I like seeing if I watch like the older like horror movies. Like, I like seeing how some of them age like years later. Like if they kind of like was it the Wolfman that we watched? No, what was it? Bad Moon?
Bad Moon.
Yeah. Like that one was like a really old one, but like that definitely like aged very well. within
the
like the
practical
effects.
werewolf suit that they used for that was incredible, and
Yeah,
like
it
they
was
showed
really
it in
good, especially like the fact that it was for that time too was like, oh my god.
it was a spotlight in the backyard, and it was just shining on that werewolf. I'm like, they're proud of that
Yeah, they're
suit
like
that they
so.
had.
There was like the entire movie. You're like, yeah, they're super proud about that, and it was like
Mhm.
it held up the entire time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it was like stuff like that is like definitely like what I slowly learned.
Honestly, I'm glad you brought it up because one of the things I keep running into when I talk about this subject is that horror is such, for me, it's one of the genres that are more diverse than others. There's so many different avenues that you can go down, and anyone that says, "Oh, I don't like horror," I kind of push them to find one they like because I feel like there's a horror movie that fits everyone's taste.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. There are
absolutely.
horror
Everyone.
movies aimed at younger audiences too. That's
Oh my god,
something for everybody.
Goosebumps, dude. The Goosebumps show, the one with the mask episode, absolutely.
Yes.
Are
Easily
You
the
Afraid
best
of the
one.
Thought? Are You Afraid of the Dark was fantastic. Creep Show, I still watch
That
Creep Show.
I haven't watched too much
like
of
when they
Creep Show.
finally made like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I remember reading that as a kid. I was obsessed with that book
That
in
book actually
school.
got a lot of people into horror too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely not. Now that I think about it, I think that's like one of my earliest memories of horror too. Like when we had that book in my elementary school classroom, and I remember every time we had to like read a book, I would choose that every single time. And my teacher was like, "No, you can't choose that every time. You have to go like other stuff." And I was like, "No, I want to read this one again."
I actually remember going going to the library and I only check out horror books. So I was heavy into Stephen King, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I constantly it was just a genre I always went back to, and it's something that I kind of grew up around, which I love it so much, and why I'm so excited to create this podcast and kind of have this space for us to talk about it, to kind of like you know have a little bonding moment over it. So next question. I have so many questions because I've been dying to get to this. You guys have no idea. What would you think is like the scariest moment, or one moment that when someone says, "Why do you love horror?" What's like one movie or one scene or one piece of information that you have that you always point to when you get asked that question?
It's that anxiety spike that you get for certain scenes, and
Yeah, or like that jump scare,
yes,
like being on the edge of your seat no
because
matter
that's why
what.
you watch it. It's fun to be scared, and even if like at our age now we don't necessarily get scared of horror movies, it's still you feel that all that tension growing, or like if a scare genuinely gets you, you kind of laugh. It's like not to call them amusement park rides, but it is kind of like a roller coaster when it comes to
It's
horror
that thrill,
movies.
yeah, of
Yeah,
like
exactly, a thrill.
you're
That's
sitting and you're like, you know what? I feel like a good scare, like to kind of get like your adrenaline pumping, kind of thing. Like, not that you purposely do it to yourself, but just kind of be like, I don't know, like that adrenaline like high, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I get into this discussion, like what I love about horror movies and what I get all like deep about it, but we all fear something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And horror is such a great tool to kind of like express that, to kind of like dive into that, whether it's more of the fun bits or more of the deeper stories. There's a lot of deep stories in horror, and I love that it's kind of one of those things that we can all understand. We can all kind of like commonly agree on that we all fear something, and it's great to
Yeah.
explore those topics. I recently played a game called oh my god, I'm gonna say it wrong. I played a game, it's a horror game. It's called Visage. I know I'm saying it wrong, but it's fine, we'll ignore it. Basically it's like a haunted house game, and you're going through and they have all these elements of like a horror movie. At one point you kind of reveal a mirror, and then upstairs there's like someone walking, and you have to kind of go upstairs, and you have that dread of like, I don't want to go up here, but I have to figure this out. And it's kind of this common thing that we all understand deep down that I love about it. I know that this is a pretty good year for horror too. We have had X, we've had Scream, we have the Resident Evil series come up. Stranger Things was fantastic. And
Mm-hmm.
it is Visage. Oh my god, it's so intense.
Is it a console game or a?
It is. It's on. It's on. I can gush about it now because I binged it. I know I'm going through like topics back and forth, but it's fine. Yes, it is on Game Pass currently right now, and it is it is very scary. It's very if you remember PT, the Silent Hill playable teaser,
Yeah.
it reminds me heavily of that, especially one of the chapters where you're walking around and you turn around and like one of the villains is peeking around the corner just watching you. Not attacking you, just watching you. There's a lot of moments in there that I don't really want to spoil because I kind of stumbled upon this thanks to my dad.
Oh, I'm
And
going
it
to play that
was
now.
terrifying. It is so terrifying. It's so good. It's just fun. And it doesn't hold your hand at all. And it's one of those games that it uses a lot of like imagery or things you know about horror and like hauntings and stuff like that to guide you into what you're supposed to do next. Like there will be a light that's like swinging and it's like showing you where to go in one area, or like you'll hear a baby crying or something like that, and it's so cool. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm checking that out. That sounds fun. I just re-downloaded Outlast, so I was replaying that. My favorite horror game still has yet to be topped.
Really? Oh man.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of horror games, Silent Hill, of course, is horror. Hello. And I am never, ever, ever gonna be okay with Silent Hills being canceled.
Yeah, that was the one with Norman Reedus, right?
Yeah, and Junji Ito, if you are familiar with his work, was supposed to work on it. His work is another thing that I love about horror. And if you haven't read any of his stories yet, I will send them to you tonight. They're amazing. They gave me the same fear I had as a kid watching Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
I think I have. What's his name again?
Junji Ito?
I think I have. Did he do Holes? That short?
Yes, the one where it's like, this is my home. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one I read just recently too. I think it was Halloween last year. My friend sent that to me, and I was like, "This was genuinely good."
Terrifying.
Yeah, I think he did The Lighthouse, a comic for that, right?
He did a Lighthouse for he did. That's absolutely correct. His illustrations is amazing, and this news did drop. I found out while I was setting up for this podcast that the RE4 remake trailer dropped, and I lost my mind. Are you guys
watched that?
Familiar with Resident Evil at all?
I have played the latest two. I played Biohazard and Village, love them, and I played some of 2. I have 2 and 3, but I didn't play 3, and I only did like the first little chunk of 2. I didn't get too far into it.
Sabrina,
and I know Sabrina's just trying to get into gaming too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never really. So like, my brother's a gamer, but like, I never really like owned my own like console.
Okay.
But Blake was so sweet to get me a Switch so we could play. He wanted me to play Fortnite, but now I'm trying to get like into everything. Like, I want to play Evil Dead really bad.
Yeah.
I'm sad because it's not on Switch yet, so I have to wait. And he's like, "Yeah, it's so good." I'm like, "Don't tell me." I'm like, "Do not tell me," because I just want to play as Ash so bad.
There's 4 different Ashes to play as, so you are covered.
Of course.
You said Army of Darkness Ash is there, right?
Yes, there's Army of Darkness Ash. Is he a hunter?
Ash.
He's hunter, right?
He's warrior.
He's warrior. Sorry.
Yeah, of course, that's the one I play as. So I'm also trying to level up Ash versus Evil Dead Ash because I know Sabrina's going to want the Army of Darkness one.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I honestly, Sabrina, I can't wait to play with you.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I want to play with like everybody. Like, I always want to get into gaming, but it's like one of those things that like, because I'm not a big gamer, like I never really wanted to go out and buy my own console because like I don't really like know a lot of games. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't really. It's kind of still new to me. So, like, I don't know. With Blake's guidance, I'm trying to, like, get into it more so we can kind of, like, share that, too, together.
Yeah, for sure. And look, horror and gaming is just as fantastic as movies, so you are in for so many treats. As far as Switch goes, BioShock, I highly recommend. BioShock Remastered, you will love it. And I'm pretty sure the Resident Evil remakes are on Switch now. Don't hold me to that.
Interesting.
But, I'm sure 2 and 3 are.
You know, I loved Resident Evil 2 remake. I think you'll like it a lot. It's a great survival horror, especially for anyone that's just diving in. Even though I'm more of a slasher girl, I still love my zombies, but I can never get enough of slashers.
The zombies in that game freak me out. Like I love horror games, but it gets to the point where it's like so many scares and running away or running
Yeah.
low on ammo, I'm like, I gotta take a break. Like, I'm
Yeah,
done for the day.
yeah.
It's killing me.
Yeah, and we're getting the show in like no time. We're getting the show in June, I believe, and I'm pretty excited. We've only seen a little bit of the trailer, but it looks incredible. I cannot wait for it. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. But what's the most recent horror movies that you've seen?
What was the last one we saw together?
Aside from Evil Dead, what was it? Because we just finished Ash vs. Evil Dead, the show. Finally, all caught up on the franchise.
What a shame it got canceled.
I don't want to talk
Despite
about
that
it.
cliffhanger, that was a great ending.
So like, I respect Bruce's decision, but like Blake said this, and now I can't get it out of my head. Because Bruce Campbell did say that like he would come back in an anime movie to finish Ash's arc, and like I'll take anything, because
Right.
after seeing that, it's like, all right, I wanted to end on a good note, no, not just because it got canceled. So like, and then after that, if it like continued without him, I'd be like, okay, he's finished his arc, it's fine. Like, I know it's not gonna forever be, revolved around him and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like after that, I might like, be able to like, if they ever, want to reboot Evil Dead, I'd be like, okay, I can focus on this now because Ash relived his arc. He's good. He finished his arc, but right now it's like still not finished. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, what else did we watch? We watched another horror movie recently.
There was something we watched recently. We did watch Drag Me to Hell.
I love Drag Me to Hell. That's underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Candyman. I didn't see either one.
We did a double feature. None of the original sequels, just the 2021 version and then the original.
And the original one, because I was like, I've heard of it, but I never watched it.
What were your thoughts on that? Did you like it?
I really loved both of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The first one was like, there's like, because of one of the things that happened in the movie, I'm glad that the husband got what he deserved. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough.
So I was like, ooh, okay, all right. Like, listen, when something like that happens in a horror movie, I'm like, no, they deserve to get, and he got what he deserved. So I was like, all right, cool. And then the new one, was so good too. It was really, really good, and I liked that they did like back then, and like they. I don't think we're gonna ever watch like the sequels because I feel like it just gets too confusing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that it's confusing. Man. They don't have genuine stories to tell.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I could have sworn you said it just because it gets weird. Like, it just gets confusing.
Yeah, it's not that it's confusing. They're just they pull some things in the sequels.
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah. I actually feel like I've heard that.
For sure. Horror movies and sequels, it's a wild ride. I know Texas Chainsaw Massacre alone, you need a whole like, diagram to be able to follow what sequel means what. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, thank you for joining us, Jim. We are just hanging out, just having a casual first episode. We're talking about what we love about horror, recent things we're watching,
everything
what keeps
horror.
bringing us back.
Everything horror.
Just a general introduction. Horror. That's what we're all about.
What did I say that I wanted to? That was gonna be on our list, though, that I wanted to watch. Oh, I wanted to watch. So I know it's controversial because the director. But I haven't seen the third one of Jeepers Creepers, and I do want to see Reborn. I have not seen either one of those, and like, I was hesitant because of the director, but I was like, I don't know. For that, I'm like, I really want to separate art from artist because I really love those movies, and I love the Creeper. So I'm like, oh man.
One of those franchises in the like separate art from artists, because some people just put their foot down, like, no, I'm not going to support that, and other people are just like, more than one person have worked on this project. There are actors that are good people in this, writers and everything. So it's, I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah. So like, I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't want to like, I think for a while it was like when it like first happened. Not that like it makes it any better, like how long it's been, but like I don't know. It's just like, cause like if in case it might be a reboot, like Reborn, but still, like I'd rather just watch all of them.
I don't think that original director did the reboot. He for sure did 3. I don't
There
know.
was
I
a
don't.
recent one too, as well, right?
Did he?
He might have then.
I
Because
did.
that's the Reborn is the most recent one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I do my best to follow everything. But
Yeah.
man, with reboots and remakes, I get
I
all
didn't
over the
even know
place.
that it was out. Like I heard that they were gonna reboot it, but like I remember when we were talking about it, Blake was like, "Have you seen the original, like the new one?" I was like, "Came out already?" So like, it definitely didn't make like any noise when it
Right.
came out.
No.
Right. And Seth Morrison, yeah, Matt Reeves
Oh,
let me
I need to
in.
watch Let Me In. Oh man, we
Yeah,
should do
That's still
that.
on.
We should watch that.
Is that still
absolutely.
on Netflix? Because that's where I saw
It
it.
should be. I
If it
will
is, we gotta
say
watch it.
a little fun fact. I'm gonna flex a little bit. I got to talk to Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger,
Oh.
and when I got to talk to him, it was very very brief, but he recommended two movies to me. Oh my gosh, one was Let the Right One In, the original of Let Me In, and
Mhm.
the other was A Tale of Two Sisters. So if you guys wanted some horror movie recommendations straight from Freddy Krueger
Yeah.
himself,
I
Why
those
haven't
does
are
seen
Tale
the
of Two
ones.
original
Sisters
Let Me
sound
In.
so familiar?
And yeah, the original Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic. It's one of my favorites. I almost wore my Freddy shirt tonight because it's one of
Mm-hmm.
those I always go back to.
Will always
Um,
be, yeah.
I actually had a discussion with a good friend of mine not too long ago about how we hear a lot of talk about elevated horror and the ideas behind it and what it means and all this stuff. But if you ask me, I'm pretty sure that Nightmare on Elm Street, if it was made today, never existed before, but it was made today, it would be considered elevated horror amongst the same realm as It Follows.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
the idea, the concept, even had a lot of the way it was filmed, like a dream state haze,
Yeah.
would totally fit what we consider elevated horror today. It's a little bit older, it's a bit more cheesy now, but yeah,
Mhm.
I have a huge place in my heart for Freddy in the original.
Oh yeah, that's why the remake I don't think was so loved because everything about Freddy was just lacking in that.
Yeah, yeah,
I see. I'd
it
have to
missed the
rewatch that
mark.
because I know I saw it in theaters for like at a friend's birthday party, and I was like, I don't know if I remember like liking the movie, but it was Freddy, so I was like, oh yeah, let's go see it. But
They did a lot of things I didn't like,
I
and
don't
all
remember
having to
it
do
much,
with
so like I
Freddy.
couldn't tell you if it was like, no, he was cool. Like I have no idea. But
Yeah,
yeah, we should rewatch it.
we could do an
Absolutely.
episode alone on that remake, Nightmare
Oh,
on Elm Street. I have
absolutely.
thoughts on that
I
movie.
would love to cover that for sure.
As a kid, I know my parents were just like, I don't know, this one looks a little darker than the campy ones you've been watching, and I still snuck it when it came on DVD, and I watched it, and I was
As
like,
any
really?
horror fan does. I snuck into the Evil Dead remake. That was a great time.
Oh,
I love
nice.
that.
Ooh.
That
Hmm.
was so much fun. Any love for foreign horror movies? Yeah, I actually let's see, Wreck, the original Wreck, was a Spanish horror film, a Spanish found footage horror film that I love. It's one of the best found footage made.
Hmm.
And also The Wailing is incredible, absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it yet, it might still be on Netflix. I don't know. It was on Netflix a long time ago, but I suggest that one. Do you guys have any favorites for foreign horror movies, or is it something that you want to dive into? You haven't had a chance to explore yet.
I
I don't think I've
definitely
ever
do.
really seen a.
I don't know if Sabrina has.
No, I don't think I have. I see. I don't even know what would be considered a foreign horror. Like,
It's not in America.
well, no, that I know. But I'm saying like in terms of like maybe if anything I watched like I just didn't know was like like a foreign horror film. I
Was
don't know.
anything dubbed? I don't know.
Huh?
Was anything dubbed that you watched?
Um,
Because the way you can confuse it a lot is there are a ton of American remakes of foreign horror,
Oh
oh
boy,
yeah.
and
The
that's
Ring,
where
The Grudge.
yeah, it's some that you wouldn't even realize because it's so popular. Like The Grudge is huge in America, and I heard the original is even better, and I haven't even seen the original, but I love the American Grudge, so I feel like I would
I didn't
love
even know
the
that was one. See, okay.
exactly, yeah. I have a list on Letterboxd of a bunch of movies that I watched with a friend of mine, and one of my
Ooh, I love
favorites was
Letterboxd.
a foreign horror movie. I'm trying to watch it. I think it was Japanese. Let me see.
Yeah, the way while you look for that. The Wailing was really good. I love the story it told. Um, Oh, there's another one. Oh, geez. I can't remember
There it is.
what it was about, but you found it, Blake?
Yes, Noroi. I think it's Noroi. Is how you
Okay,
pronounce
all
it?
right.
Noroi the Curse. Very good movie. It's a slow burn, and when I tell you the ending is worth it, it's just such a good story. I love that movie.
I'm always in for a slow burn. Always, always.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen The Sadness yet, but I will add it to my list. I love when someone recommends me a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just watch it. I'll just throw it on and watch it. That's what I did with The Descent, and oh my god, that was the most terrifying experience I've ever had watching a horror movie.
The Descent is good.
The Descent is incredible. Sabrina, have you seen The Descent yet?
I don't even think I've ever heard of that.
Oh my god, you can't look it up. You're not allowed to look it up. You
How
have to
long
watch
did it
it
come
live.
out?
Early
can't, like-
2000s?
What?
I think it was early 2000s.
What's it called?
The Descent.
No.
No?
No, I don't think
I think
so.
it was, what was it, 2000 something?
6?
2006, yeah. I was going to say
It feels like a
2005.
2006 movie.
Let's see, The Descent.
Oh, it's not
2005.
out yet.
I was close.
I was going to say
The
2005.
new Jeepers Creepers didn't come out yet? Oh, I thought it came out. Oh, maybe that's why, that's why I didn't think I, heard about that. Okay, that makes more sense.
We also have Evil Dead Rise coming across. This Halloween Evil Dead Rise is supposed to be coming out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gotta be this
Ooh,
fall.
I'm
I hope it's by,
excited.
Halloween, so me and Blake can see it together.
Mhm.
I hope it's. I just hope it. I just want it to come out. I've been following the director, and if you see on his Twitter, every day during production, he bought white shoes for filming, and every day during production, he took a picture of his shoes, and they got more bloody
That's so cool.
as time went on. So
I
I
love
have
that.
high hopes, and yes, I love Rec 1 and 2, especially 1. It's one of those found footage movies that I always point people to when they say found footage is bad, because found footage is, for me, one of the scariest tools that can be used in horror. Unfortunately, it's not always in the best because it's also like the cheapest one to do. But when it's done well, I mean, Blair Witch is iconic and still has a lot of weight today.
Mhm.
But yeah, I highly recommend those two.
I always
Absolutely.
thought Friday the 13th could have done found footage well, and I know they talked
Oh,
about.
absolutely.
I think it was right before the lawsuit. One of the potential sequels that was talked about was a found footage movie, but I don't think anyone liked the idea of that. But I was like, no, it could work. It's a camp, and a kid can bring in a camera or something. They could have made it work.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see a Friday 13th found footage kind of situation. I think that'd be great.
I think one of the fan films did that, at least for a
Really?
small portion. It was either the first or the second one, Never Hike Alone. And I think the
See,
second one was Never Hike in the Snow Alone, something like that.
I just feel like if we got to the point where Jason is in space, I don't think found footage is too much of a stretch at this point.
There is nothing you can't do with Jason at this point.
I really don't think so. Although I did, if I remember correctly, I could be misremembering because I was pretty young when I first watched it. It's been a while since I rewatched it. The Friday 13th remake actually wasn't bad.
Oh, it was. I thought it was really good.
It was really good, right? I'm not just dreaming this because they had like a whole mini movie before the actual movie started.
And it brought a lot to just what we know of Jason. Like, how does he keep teleporting around the camp? He has tunnels underneath, so he can pop up anywhere. Just they added so much to it, and it kind of embraced the stereotypes of the original. And I don't know. I think it was made by genuine fans of the franchise. At least it came across that way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Friday 13th is one of those franchises that just can't get a win right now.
No.
With the game, and it's so heartbreaking because the game was incredible. I was obsessed with the game. Let me tell you, I was always playing that game. And when a game like this happens, it would have brought a lot of attention, a lot of new fans into the series, and it would have made getting a new movie made even easier. But the lawsuit happened, blah 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 blah. Like for Evil Dead, for example, there's so many people that are now exploring Evil Dead. They are now wanting to watch movies and seek them out and dive deeper, thanks to the game. And it really sucks that we didn't get more from the game before it got its chance to shine.
Yeah. I think Freddy needs a game. He's actually one of my favorite people to play as in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, Freddy would be a great game. I think it'd be amazing. I think you could do a Silent Hill-esque situation with Freddy because he plays on your fears, a kind of dream world versus real world type situation. We're getting a Texas Chainsaw game coming soon.
That's right.
I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I've seen that. It looks genuinely good too.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
You know, I'm excited. I really am. I will say that one of my favorite things about the Evil Dead game that we have currently is the combat. I love Friday the 13th. I'm gonna play Texas Chainsaw. Dead by Daylight is great, but there's something about the power boost that the survivors get in Evil Dead that makes it a bit unique to me, that keeps standing out to me, that I keep revisiting. I love that aspect of it. I love the teamwork of it. I love that on this one, strictly, if you don't work as a team, you're done.
If you split up alone, your team can't finish what they have to do, and you will get picked off first.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to stay together. There's so many times during that first week the game came out where, I don't know, I split off or a couple of my friends did or whatever, and we just couldn't get a single objective done because we got overwhelmed.
Yeah, and you know, it's great because I'm a demon main. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I love being it's basically like you're a dungeon master, right?
Yeah,
you're a dungeon master.
That's how I describe it to people.
Setting up these traps, you're setting up this almost narrative to try and just absolutely annoy the crap and scare the crap out of these people and win. And I love it. I love that aspect of it. I love that there's so much more you can do on both sides, because being Jason was fun. Don't get me wrong. I had a playlist on my phone. I still have it that would play. So when I got near, they would hear like 80s music instead of hearing like the Jason music. But there's something about doing everything you can as a demon in Evil Dead that I adore too.
Oh yeah, and everyone talks about more demons that they could add to the game later. Like a lot of people want Ruby and Ball from the video game.
Right.
I would love the demon from the remake, and if they added Mia as a survivor.
I would love both of those, honestly. I would love a section where we get the blood rain. The blood rain would be so cool. I love, man, don't get me started on the Evil Dead remake, because it's very divisive amongst the community, because, you know, it doesn't have the camp. It doesn't have the camp from Evil Dead. No. And if your favorite thing about Evil Dead is the campiness, you're going to
I literally said
it was the charm.
Yeah, I literally said, like, I was like, it lacks that charm.
It doesn't have that, yeah.
It's a good horror movie, but as an Evil Dead movie, it's not good.
And, you know, my thing for me, personally, is they took everything that was Evil Dead at the bare bones. They took Evil Dead, the first movie, the concept, what happens, the lore, and they played it straight. And they really played into what made it scary. Not that the first few can't be scary, of course. And I admire that. I admire that because, you know, originally, I could be telling the story wrong, but I remember it as Sam Raimi didn't originally mean it to be campy. He didn't mean it to be this campy.
The first Evil Dead isn't extremely funny at all. Right. It doesn't have that little charm to it.
Right, exactly. And I guess for me, it kind of seemed like, it felt like them going for what Sam Raimi originally intended. Now, obviously, as he, you know, leaned into campiness, he became the Sam Raimi that we all love and all adore, and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are some of my favorite movies of all time. But I like seeing the original idea just kind of played with and brought to us.
Because he nailed the genuine horror aspects of it. Like the first, I even tweeted it today, the first Deadite was Cheryl, and just the reveal of that, counting the cards without seeing it, and then that dramatic turnaround with her eyes, and everyone like, oh shit, what the hell happened to her? It's just going into that movie knowing nothing, I think, is an incredibly cool experience. And then going into Evil Dead 2, where it's essentially the same thing, just kind of upping everything, upping the blood and adding humor to it. That's where the franchise embraced itself, but you can't ignore the first movie that set out like this is a horror movie. There is
Right.
no light or humor to it in the slightest.
No,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
exactly.
why I will never blame a Evil Dead fan that says they don't like the remake, because it's not, it doesn't have that we come to love from Evil Dead.
Well, yeah, it
and
doesn't have
memories.
that charm or like what makes Evil Dead the way it is. Like I think it was more for that one they approached it in the more sinister way, and like it lacked like the campy charm, like not that seriousness.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, now that being said, as someone that loves practical effects, that loves this is a solid horror movie that feels different, and at the time this did feel different for me. I still hold the Evil Dead remake in a special place in my heart. Just as much as I hold the entire series in a special place, I'm kind of glad they didn't try to be Sam Raimi, because
Yeah.
you
They didn't
can't really,
recast Ash. They didn't try to redo that charm of the
right.
main character, which was very smart. I think that's even why Bruce Campbell was on board with the remake, because he's like,
Yeah.
you can't touch Ash.
Yeah. Well, like I know a lot of people say it was like, yeah, when they do reboots, it's like, you know, as long as you're not messing everything up. But like sometimes I feel like if it's a different director trying to remake something, it's like they'll have that character just to get like people to, you know, like go watch it, but like it lacks that charm.
Yeah.
Like that's how I like me and Blake both feel the same way. It was like I know we don't like talking about it, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. The new Texas Chainsaw, like it was like gory, but it was like it lacked everything like Texas Chainsaw.
Sabrina said it
Oh,
felt like
boy.
a bland Netflix movie that they just slapped Leatherface in. And
Yeah.
I have
So
never heard
yes,
more than
Yeah.
that.
I know way too much about the Texas Chainsaw remake. I'm so glad you got to bring it up, because when we talk about what we love about horror, we also talk about what doesn't work and why we appreciate the ones that do when we see it, because
Yeah.
we also endure the ones that don't. Texas Chainsaw remake I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan.
The 2005 or 2006 one?
The newest, sorry, sequel.
Oh, the reboot.
Sequel.
This new one, okay.
Yeah, the new like the Netflix one.
Whatever it
The
is.
Netflix one.
The Netflix one.
Mhm.
One.
To be clear, where my mind was, where my mindset was during this, and I can go on for ages about this and how upset I was. I went from Good Times with Rob Pattinson, Lighthouse, The Batman, to Texas Chainsaw. So
That probably didn't help Texas Chainsaw very much.
I can only explain it as the most intense whiplash I felt. I like was in my living room just kind of like, I don't understand how this happened. They had a whole movie made. I don't know how I know it was written. I don't know if it was filmed. It might have been filmed as well, but they completely scrapped it and started over again. And what we got is, I guess, what they decided was better than whatever the original was.
Insane. There's no way. Even there was a after
Yeah.
credit scene, and we watched that, and I was like, "Oh, stop it! He's home now. Just let him be there. Stop trying.
And
no more Texas Chainsaw."
yeah, and as pointed out for us, the whole Halloween ripoff for a character who the original actress has unfortunately passed away, so they recasted her just to kill her off.
The handling of that character was probably the worst thing about that movie. They built her up in like 2 or 3 scenes.
It was that, yeah, I would say that, and like the way that like people were killed because then how they weren't immediately dead.
Yeah, there was some suspension of disbelief when it came to a few of those kills.
When she was held in the air on a chainsaw, thrown away, and then still shot and talked for like 15 minutes afterwards.
I was already out of the movie, and that took me out.
Oh my god. I was just in shock.
I think it was the guy who like looked like he got like his like neck sliced or something, but it was like his jaw or something, and I was like, come on,
walking around for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, and the friend that was just like casually went back to the bus and didn't think to go, hey, There's murder going on.
Or like
Just a heads
the
up.
like sister too.
Oh my god. And thank you, Seth Morris, because listen, Texas Chainsaw 3D isn't good, but you know what? I will watch it because it's so
not a good
bad.
movie.
It's amazing.
But you put those two side by side, any day I would choose Texas Chainsaw 3D over
Oh my
this
god.
movie.
At least Texas Chainsaw 3D felt like a bad Texas Chainsaw movie, not just like a whatever.
Oh yeah. And
Whatever.
the opening scene was pretty cool. I'll give them that. They had the original Leatherface play one of the family members. Like I feel like they at least tried. I didn't get that sense from this new one.
Yeah, and like
I was talking about this new one. I was like,
no, this one did not try.
No, we're not gonna be nice to it.
They did not try.
No, they didn't try. And speaking of the Evil Dead remake, the guys that worked on the Evil Dead remake had a hand in this. Like they had a hand in this to some degree. As
Makes
someone from
sense.
Texas, by the way, they said they were like a few hours or a few miles outside of Austin, and let me tell you guys, that is not what that area looks like at all.
No.
At all, not even close. I'm sorry, they completely missed the mark. As a Texan, I was.
They butchered
not.
Texas in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Yeah, they really did. They really did.
When I think this movie can't get any worse.
No, and it was just disappointing. You know, they used a lot of sensitive situations as just exploitative for me. The main
character surviving a school massacre for some reason that does go nowhere and doesn't really add much.
No, it's just there for shock. That's all it was.
That's
and
not
then,
the kind of thing you use for shock.
Oh my god! And then they go through all of this, and then they stay in the town overnight, have a little shower, casually joking as they leave town with literally a town full of dead bodies of all their friends, everyone they knew.
Yeah,
they still haven't tried to find their friend that went missing in the first place. They don't know she's dead, and they're just casually just like chilling, and then I don't like the movie.
No, nobody watched over the writing process or even the filming of this movie. Like, wait, guys, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't flowing.
They're like, you know what? That's cool. Do it.
No, it's gonna make money. It's got Leatherface in it. People are gonna watch it.
Yeah, the writer, take it for what you will. The writer, there's like I'm pretty sure their first feature writing credit was Texas Chainsaw 2022.
I'm so sorry.
And it shows.
It definitely shows, and at the same time, like it needed another draft. Clearly, like I don't know if there was too much pressure on them to just you're done, cool, film it. It's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I think even if it wasn't part of a big franchise, a movie deserves to be looked at more than once. Have it play in front of a few people, see does it work. Like actually put the time and effort into making sure it's a solid effort, because I don't know. I want to see effort in movies, and I feel like an ass saying I didn't see any effort when it came to this movie.
You shouldn't, because like outside of let's say the gore and the issues with that, not the issues. The gore was well done, right? The gore was I can give you that. The gore was well done, cool.
Yeah.
But outside of that, what were they giving us? You know,
good what kills me is the canceled line.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had
the filming on the bus pissed me off.
They had some confidence putting that in the trailer of all things.
They had some confidence filming that.
Yeah, I don't know why they would want to film that.
They had a lot of confidence. And it breaks my heart because this is a thing that I'm always fighting against when we get to horror. And why I love horror, because horror is one of the genres that gets dogged on way too much, because they see these movies like Texas Chainsaw. They see movies that are cheaply made, that are mass produced, that are made for a quick cash grab, because people cash in on these things. People know people love horror movies. People know they love to get spooky, and horror is notorious for being one of the cheaper genres to make a movie in. And it hurts films or series like Haunting of Hill House or Oculus, which I know a lot of people didn't like Oculus, but I personally really enjoyed Oculus. It
We actually
hurts.
just watched that too, Oculus, with Brenton Thwaites, right?
The
Yep, Brent
mirror one.
Waits.
And Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great horror movie.
Mhm.
It's definitely a genre that suffers a bit more from the cheaply made ones than, let's say, action. Because when you see Taken 3, you kind of laugh it off, and you still give the other action movies a chance. But when you see the Friday 13th remake, or you see spooky found footage movie made for $3 because the studio doesn't want to actually produce horror movies, number 12, you see all these things and you get a bad taste in your mouth, and there's a lot of people who end up with bad taste in your mouth,
Yeah, and
bad taste in their mouth of horror.
it's funny that you mention horror being for everybody, or there's always something for something you're looking for specifically out of horror, because those constant splatterfests, like those early 2000s with Saw and Hostel, which gave birth to all those just gore fest movies. And for a long time, horror just wasn't interesting for the general audience. It was just horror fans, and specifically. And I don't know what it was, but around the time of, actually, I think it was the Babadook, when those art house horror movies started coming out, and that
Oh my
got a
gosh,
lot of
yeah.
attention. And that, now it's like even the new Scream movie played that up. Like, oh, what's your favorite scary movie? Oh, Hereditary, Midsummer, The Babadook. Like those art house horror movies that have something to say, very little blood, so to speak.
Right. And it kind of gets me, and I'm gonna sound like such a snob, but I'm gonna say it. Horror has always had those movies.
Mm-hmm.
We've always had these movies that had a deeper meaning, had something to say, wasn't just what the early 2000s made people think it was. And there's nothing wrong with calling something elevated horror, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't want the idea to come out that like horror was always just trash and just like cheap, whatever, until now. Now it's elevated. Now it's different. These things exist, and they transpire. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been a genre that has a lot of films that should be taken seriously, and films are made for fun. I mean, like Malignant, right? I love Malignant. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that you're going to sit in and take in, dissect like a Midsummer, right? But
Yeah.
it's still just as good. It's still, they're just for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your take on elevated horror, and how it lines up with movies before we had this era of art house horror?
Elevated horror. Now that's, how do you really define elevated horror?
Woo! Wow, that's a good question. Before I answer that for you, this is a movie. Anna's The Hands of Fate is a great movie. Maybe we'll review that then. I love good recommendation. Elevated horror, man. Personally, I just call it horror with a budget, with people that are passionate, that care about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want an actual definition, let's say, you put me on the spot, Blake. Thanks.
Because just even thinking of my answer, I'm just like,
it's like
I don't know what movies I'd put in that category.
Your A24s, your Hereditary, Ghost Story. I don't think Ghost Story is A24. It might have been your Midsummer. Your deep, multi-layered, psychological, complex horror
Okay,
movies.
I got it. I love them when they're executed well. And I know you could say that about anything, like not even just movies, but if you take something like Hereditary, where it does have stuff to say, or Midsummer, like there is social commentary there, family tragedies, family drama, toxic relationships, like those had things to say. Whether or not they executed them well is subjective, but I think they genuinely had something to say. And if they top it all off with genuine scares and good horror, I'm going to love it. And then you have movies like Men, which think they have stuff to say, and necessarily the execution isn't all there.
Continue.
And I know Men is very divisive. That's why I hope we get some conversation on both
We
sides.
might have to do a special conversation, a special episode just to talk about Men.
Oh yeah, and I had some deep restraint. I saw a TikTok of Men. I think it was from A24. It was just a clip from it, and someone in the comments was like, "I've seen Men 3 times. I loved it." In my head, I was like, "How?" But at the same time, it's I'm just like, clearly whatever they were trying to say resonated with that person, and it landed. But just the more
That
I
goes
thought,
for like any movie, but yeah.
yeah,
Like you
exactly.
told me about it and I was like,
It is subjective. It landed for a lot of people, and it did not for a lot of people. It's just elevated horror. I think is, can you really be in the middle when it comes to that?
Right, right.
I feel like you can.
Yeah.
It depends. Like, I think you either love it or hate it as a whole. Like, It Follows, I think, falls under that category, and that's
I didn't
one of
like
my
It Follows.
favorites.
I'm so sorry.
You haven't seen that?
I didn't like it.
Oh,
I
you
want to
didn't
like
like
it.
it.
I didn't.
See?
It just didn't hit with me. It didn't land. I see
I actually
why.
liked it.
I understand it. I get why people love it. It didn't hit for me. Before we dive back into elevated horror, I will say Psycho is my favorite black and white horror film. It's one of the first black and white horror films that I watched. But no, sorry, you were saying It Follows. Continue.
Yes, Sif Morrison, The Witch definitely counts as elevated horror. That movie, actually, I remember being condemned so much because so many kids went into that movie expecting a good horror movie, and it's such a slow, drawn out old English.
Heavy. It's a lot to chew on. A lot to chew
Yeah,
on.
and I love that movie too because I knew it was going to be. It had something to say, genuine story. It's kind of hard to rewatch because of just what it gets into, but I talk about a movie I respect. I really like The Witch, and I struggle even calling The Lighthouse a horror movie, let alone elevated horror.
Yeah, I can't believe it's like considered
Really?
like in that category.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would call it psychological horror, if anything. I
Well, I was gonna
prefer
say like a psychological, not like thriller, but like just like a psychological film.
I
It's
prefer it
almost
being
a character study, almost, if we had a reliable narrator.
Yeah,
yeah.
Man, okay. I see when it comes to a lighthouse, I felt a lot of dread. Although there wasn't too many upfront scares, I would place it in in I'd place it in horror strictly because of the dread I felt.
Mhm.
The dread of the siren droning on and
It
on.
felt like a modern day Hitchcock movie, if that makes
There
sense.
you go. There
Just
you go.
focused on one, if not two characters losing their mind or just like really getting inside their mind. Like, kind of, why are we following them throughout this movie? What's so important
Yeah.
that we're trying to get inside their heads, see what they're trying to do? And you're in Robert Pattinson's head for that whole movie, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not. You're in his head.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
want to be, but
There's a lot of tension too.
mm-hmm.
For sure. No, I think I can see why I don't want to call it horror. I do. I guess I would for the dread, for the building tension of, is Willem Dafoe lying? Is he telling the truth? Is he a murderer? What's going on? The all of that kind of made it feel at least horror adjacent. I will at least call it horror adjacent. But definitely I see why, like, we get comment right here. I see why people love or prefer elevated horror, prefer a deeper take on horror, a more complex take, more to chew on, because, you know, horror is one of those genres where, like I said earlier, I'm sure we agree that people make it so quick and cheap and easy. It kind of feels like you're eating a nothing sandwich sometimes if you're not already into the genre and the tropes and what it brings. So something that, like, you can dissect and sit down and kind of like fully take in and piece together yourselves is always so much fun. Blake, you're listing off different elevated horrors, and Sabrina, obviously, you guys talking about it. What are some elevated horrors that are your favorites? Because you mentioned It Follows, and I interrupted you. I'm sorry about that, but yeah,
no, it's okay. Like I said, like I think I didn't really know the definition of that until like right now.
Okay,
so, like,
all right.
I don't know what would you describe as like elevated horror?
Think about the horror movies that are more complex, their story, that have
like
a bit
deeper meaning,
more psychological. They're not kind of in your face like let's say like a slash, like not slasher, but let's say like Scream. I love Scream, but Scream is more straight to the point. It's more straightforward. You kind of get what you're getting.
Sabrina just watched Hereditary for the
first time. That's never seen it before. I've seen the scene, like the famous scene, like I've known like about it. I just never really like sat down and watched it, and I was like, oh, I was not expecting it to be like Midsummer. I don't not like Midsommar, but it's a weird movie, and I wasn't expecting it.
I have a very fun relationship with Midsummer because I do like it, and I actually got the director's cut on that special.
And because you like Florence Pugh.
Yeah, and just
who doesn't love Florence Pugh?
Yeah,
exactly.
I
it's
like
a genuinely good movie.
I was texting him when I was watching it, and I was like, I wonder why like this is one of your favorite movies. And I was like watching like throughout it, I was like, why is this your favorite movie? Like I was like, I gotta know.
It's not one of my favorite movies, especially horror movies. I appreciate what it tries to do, and even more so
it's
the
not.
director.
I could have sworn you told me it was.
At one point it was.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
It's hard to rewatch because my biggest complaint is I wish they did more horror. Like the movie was more disturbing than it was.
Yeah, that's what I like.
I feel like they tried too hard to gross you out or just shock you.
That's see, all right. It's weird. Like we were talking about it before. That's what I don't like in horror movies. It's like the
disturbing, the shock factor.
I don't like that.
Exactly. And I did actually read the script for Midsummer. I'm pretty sure A24 has all their scripts online.
It was beautifully shot and everything. Like
they cut a
fantastic
lot
in it. Like
out of that
cinematography's great, but like there was like one scene that fucked with me for a couple days, and I was like, why?
I'm sure it was the cliff scene. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the Blood Eagle. That's what it was.
Stayed with me for days. I was like, I literally was like, I heard the term, but like I was like, and like ever since then, I was not the same person. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like that was out of everything in the entire movie, that was the one thing that I was like,
yeah.
Because like, and then I looked it up and I was like, I think what's freaky about it is just like the guy was still alive too, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah,
very
it's a hard one. I wouldn't like watch it all the time. No, I think it's like a one and done.
Again, it's also like The Witch, hard to rewatch, but genuinely well.
Yeah,
like Hereditary was more like kind of like the same like kind of cult kind of like movie, but like it wasn't as disturbing.
Yeah, it had moments.
Was. Huh?
It had moments of it, and I think Midsommar relied on their disturbing moments, where Hereditary it came naturally, and it was part of the experience of that movie.
No, that's definitely exactly how I would say it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some hot takes in the chat right now.
Yeah, I know. That is a hot take that completely threw off my train of thought. You want to dive in on that one, guys?
I disagree with it. That person's very much entitled to that opinion because it's a great movie, and I wouldn't argue that. But
it's one of the best, but like
the original just did so much for the horror genre, and just it's the new one at least.
Like I think it paved the way. Like it
paved the way for a lot.
Especially if we look at where horror was at the time of that era, it spawned all these teen slashers that we get today.
Was that really like the birth of like teen slash horror like slasher movies?
Not like the birth, because you still had Friday the 13th, you still had Jason.
Was the resurgence of it.
The resurgence,
because that's also what you got.
You
got I Know What You Did Last Summer. You got a lot of horror movies around that early 2000s, almost 2000s, because Scream was, 96, 97?
96. 96.
96. Exactly. It was just heading into that new generation, as I think we were starting to see, like, okay, new kinds of horror. Because horror was dead for a while. It was big in the 80s. 90s, it kind of dipped. It was the end of the 90s that we saw.
Yeah.
And it
definitely has aged well, like fine wine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautifully. And there's something that I love so much about the original, and it's such a timeless love letter to the series, and it's one that I keep going back and I keep finding new things that I didn't realize before, I didn't connect before, and it's made so well, and it's just it really is one of the most iconic horror movies from the beginning to the way it plays out, to how it was the perfect kind of satire. And we know we have parody films later on, but we don't really get satire films where it's still a love letter to the genre while being a part of it and not being too much.
That's hard to execute.
We have to do a Scream episode, guys. We absolutely have to do a Scream episode.
Absolutely. I will definitely be down for that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see The Curse from last
I wanted
February?
to so bad. No one would see it with me.
Oh man, I've seen
I know you would. That's why. I I think Boyd Holbrook was in that too. I don't know.
It looked like a
Everyone,
werewolf movie, but I'm pretty sure that I'm completely wrong from the one image I've seen that definitely doesn't look a werewolf. So now
it
I'm
seems
intrigued.
like a werewolf thing to me too. I don't know.
I don't know,
Is it
man.
available to rent yet? Because I would rent
It
that.
should be. It should be. I think it's on. Might be on some streaming. Let's see. While Blake looks that up, maybe we have. We're just sitting here planning future episodes during the first episode.
No, but that's good though. That's good.
This is the intro episode. We can
Because
get
if we ever
everything
forget
set up.
them, we can just rewatch this and be like, "Oh yeah, remember when we mentioned this on the stream?"
Absolutely.
We're finding our footing.
The old Hammer horror films. No, but it's on my list. I've seen quite a few older horror. I have some good enough knowledge of the history and how things, led up to where we are now, but there's still some things I need to visit, and my laptop is going to die soon, which means the stream will end. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
That would be pretty bad.
That would not be good.
That would not be good. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
The Curse is it's not streaming, but it is available to rent for $5.99 pretty much anywhere. I want to watch it. When it comes to horror, and I did this with Men, I was so proud of myself for going into Men. That came out wrong. I was so proud of myself for seeing that movie blind. I saw the trailer once, so it's a little bit of a lie, but I didn't really remember anything from it. I didn't look up a single review or another TV spot or anything. I kind of closed my eyes if they would come up. So I went into that movie without any knowledge of the scares, what it's about, what it looks like. I glanced at the poster, and even that tells you nothing. So I went into that movie, saw what I saw, and then when I got home, I watched both of the teaser and the normal trailer, and they spoiled everything.
Yeah.
Like, that trailer shows every scare in that movie, of course, except for the final shock of the final 5 minutes. But I'm making a vow to stay away from trailers when it comes to horror movies, unless it's like Evil Dead, because I'm familiar with the franchise. I'll watch the trailer, but
Yeah.
like The Cursed, if I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it.
No, that's kind of what I do in general now these days. I avoid trailers. I go into things blind as much as possible.
Mhm.
There was, it's so funny that I can't remember it now, but there was a teaser that I saw right before, I think it was right before we saw Top Gun for the second time. It was a short little teaser, and it was intriguing. It was spooky. It was intriguing. And I turned to my dad, and I was like, see, this is just what I want from a teaser. I just want you to give me a little taste, leave me asking some questions, and then go away. Don't just, show me everything. Don't do that.
Intrigue me. Don't give me a plot synopsis of the entire thing.
And yeah, I know. But, hey, we have a new Cronenberg movie coming out this month, actually. We have that.
I think it's this upcoming week.
Oh my God, is it? Oh boy.
Crimes of the Future.
Yeah, we have that. The creators of Sinister have a new horror movie coming out at the end of this month, which I am incredibly excited for.
Oh, it come out today?
What?
Crimes of the Future must have come out tonight.
You're lying.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So opens in theaters tonight and tomorrow.
Okay, well, we're professionals here. We know when movies come out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We are
I was
on
just reminding
top
myself.
of things. Yeah, it's just a little reminder for you guys, not for us. Man, geez, I guess I'm excited. King of body horror, king of, I can't wait. Have you guys seen The Fly by any chance?
I have seen The Fly.
Okay.
Not sure if Sabrina has. No.
I don't know what
then
that
that's
is.
going on the list too.
I don't know what that is.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum's in it. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff Goldblum's in it.
One of those.
Okay,
Yeah,
King.
love Jeff Goldblum. And Blood Red Sky. I have seen Blood Red Sky. Have you guys seen that one?
I've never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
No.
excited. I'm gonna just be throwing movies at you constantly.
We watched Dark Sky though.
Dark Skies, yes.
That freaked me out.
Very
For,
good horror
I could not
movie.
sleep after we watched it.
It's a good alien horror movie. I know there's very few good alien movies aside from just Alien. I mean,
That freaked me out.
original.
That freaked me out. I could not sleep that night.
There are a couple scenes that are just haunting in that movie.
Oh
Mhm.
man.
I think it's PG-13 too.
Yeah.
Which one was it again? My brain blanked for a second.
Dark Skies.
Dark Skies. It is PG-13. I'm pretty sure. If you want to talk about alien movies that terrified me, The Fourth Kind. The Fourth Kind.
I think I tried to watch that when I was really young, and I couldn't get into it, but it looks like something that I like. I've heard nothing but good things. Dark Skies is PG-13. And yeah, The Fourth Kind looks genuinely scary. I would like to sit down and actually watch the whole thing at some point.
See, like, alien movies are hard because aliens freak me out in general. So I'm like, if it's a good movie, like, I don't know. I mean, I've said it on the other stream, but I'll just say it here, and people can make fun of me. But like, E.T. scared me as a kid. It still does.
I
still
think
freaks
E.T.
me out.
freaked a lot of people out at one point.
I don't like it. That was like why I'm like scared of aliens and stuff like that. So I'm like, those movies it's hard. Or War of the Worlds scared me too as a kid. The noise freaks me out very bad.
That's a classic.
Yeah, but like the movie was like fine because I saw it when I was a kid. Like the noise, like
oh yeah,
that dreaded siren.
It's not even just like the movie. It's the noise in like from the aliens that freaks me out. I'm like, oh god.
I agree. Signs, that iconic scene from Signs, makes me sick to my stomach still. Oh my god. Freaks me out. But this is funny. The Fourth Kind was I watched it when I was younger. My parents made me watch it. Shout out to them. There's a scene in this movie. It's a jump scare. And I know jump scares are cheap, but I'm telling you guys, I jumped off the couch and ran ran down the hall.
Jump scare?
Oh, what is that?
Is it an alien jump scare?
I forgot how to explain it. There's like things with owls and like it's a jump scare.
Is it about aliens?
It's about aliens.
Shit.
It's a found footage mockumentary about aliens. I jumped from my couch and ran to my room.
Making mental notes. Be like, we're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this.
I do want to go back to. I haven't seen the whole thing, and I've heard good things about it.
We'll make a letterbox and then we'll make a list that we'll need to go through and check in with each other what we're watching.
Yes.
I haven't seen A Quiet Place 2 yet. I've missed it.
It's so good.
It. I love this one.
See, I don't know if it's better than the first. I keep going back and forth between both.
I loved Cillian Murphy's character.
Yeah.
He was
definitely one of the best parts of the second one. So like, I don't know if I think it's better.
They're very similar. It's hard to pick which one's better.
Yeah.
Is it a prequel or was it just the beginning of it was the
the beginning is day one.
Okay.
And then the rest of it is like just after.
Picks up right where the first movie left off.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because I'm a crybaby. The end of the first one made me cry in the theater.
I don't
know if this one will make you cry.
Yeah, it's emotional for different reasons than obviously the end of that first one.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Mike. I literally forgot to send it to you until this exact moment. I am so sorry.
Oof.
Damn.
Oh my god, the shade.
I'm getting called out in the moment. So I'll let you guys in on this and maybe we'll fix things here. I promised Mike a letterbox list. And I've made it. I just keep forgetting that to transfer it to letterbox to send to him. Movies are good for someone that's just getting into horror. And yeah, so I'll use that as a question to hide my shame. What's a movie that if someone's like, hey, I have never watched a horror movie before, where do I start?
I instantly have it, and Sabrina and I just watched them. The Fear Street trilogy, I think, is a great place to start.
Oh my god.
That was like R, so good.
But they're gruesome and they all tell a good story, and I even said
it's a slasher, but the story was so good.
Yeah, if there was a kid that's like 11, 12, or maybe not 11, but like 12, 13, like I want to watch horror movies, watch the Fear Street trilogy. If you can get through those, then you can move up. I think it's the more mature Goosebumps, pretty much, and it's also R.L. Stine.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't expect them to really lean into it being not for the kiddos
It
as
was
much
not
as they
aimed at
did.
kids at all. Yeah.
No, I love that, and I love that you said that because it's one of those series that you get a taste of like a lot of different eras
Mhm.
and like subgenres that you can really pick. Like, oh, I like these concepts and like these concepts of
Mhm.
this. So then from there on, you can go, oh yeah, I think you should watch this, this, and this. Like if you like them at a camp being
Yeah.
chased down, it's obvious Friday 13th. You know.
Yeah, the Fear Street trilogy went with the witches. It did 80s slashers, possession movies. Like it
Yeah.
kind of had everything. It's like, what part of
Literally
those
everything. Oh,
movies
smorgasbord.
were your favorites?
Yeah, of course, like when you like somebody wants to get into horror, it's like never really seen one. You want to see like all like the main like iconic basic horror movies like Halloween, all that. But like I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't hurt to start at like Fear Street 2 or something.
Especially because Fear Street's a modern day movie, and it's for someone just getting into a genre, it's hard to go back in time. Like
Yeah.
someone just getting into movies, it's hard to watch them a classic from or show them a classic from the 70s.
Right.
You kind of have to develop that appreciation to kind of accept how it was back then, the effects, and just how stories were told, because it's very different these days, for better or worse.
You know, when you kind of get into it, and once you're at that point where you can watch, or you're starting to get to the older ones, it's really great because you can see like, oh, this is where these concepts came from. This is where these things are birthed from. I mean, in the original Halloween, you have Laurie, who is one of my favorite scream queens of all time, for example, and you know, getting into that whole thing, it's just one of those great things that as you become a bigger fan, you are able to appreciate more of the niche things about it.
And I don't want to ignore that chat. Fire in the Sky is a great alien movie, one of the best. And I think if you want a good alien horror movie, Fire in the Sky is a good one. It takes a very serious approach to it, and it has, I think, if you've watched a lot of videos or scared of alien probing in the slightest, I think it has one of the scariest alien encounters in a movie. Because the movie it's not a horror movie at all. It's a very serious movie about an alien abduction, and then one scene you get a good look at the aliens, and it's haunting.
No, I'm good. We're good.
I love a good movie that waits to show you the monster.
They build you up for an hour and a half or whatever, and towards the end they're like, here's what happened.
That's when things get super scary. You know, that's one of the things that I've run into a lot with a lot of, not all modern horror, but like they show you everything so soon that you don't really get that tense, that kind of like fear of like, what is it, what's going on, that question. But we did get asked a question that I know we're all dying to talk about. Do you like Stranger Things, guys?
God, yes.
Finally caught up to date with Stranger Things.
Blake didn't remember last season, but like I had to do like a rundown for him, and then like
when it comes to Stranger Things, I watch it when it first drops and I end up loving it, and then I just don't go back to it. It's one of those things for me, and I needed that recap before this new season. I was like, I don't remember a lot of this, but it's coming back to me.
It's one of those things that like every time the new season comes out, I always like learn to like how it originally started, and I'm like, oh yeah, but like now it's like more and more. You guys know like what it was supposed to be, right? Like when it first before it came out. So like it was supposed to be called Project Montauk.
Okay.
And so the first season, I mean like it's all about that, but like mostly like Elle with like the lab and everything is based off a place on Long Island called Camp Hero, where they did like government experiments on like people who like with like telekinesis, who could teleport, stuff like that, like back in the war. And kind of like hit it. And so like they were trying to do that. That's like the inspiration behind the show. And they were going to call it that, but they couldn't get like the rights to it. So that's why they thought of Hawkins, Indiana, because they couldn't do like Long Island and everything and like film in Montauk because it's like a family oriented place. So they're like, no, we're good. So like that's why they made a Hawkins, Indiana.
That's
because
funny. I didn't know that.
But like Camp Hero's still there. It's a state park now, but it used to be it was a lab where they would kind of, like I said, do like government experiments. It was like the Manhattan Project kind of thing, stuff like that. Just like I don't say like atomic bombs, but like it was just like stuff during the war that like they're trying to figure out, you know, like doing like secret experiments and like it's like the way I could describe it, it's not like the same concept, but like it's like kind of like seclusion, like Area 51 kind of thing, where like a lot of government experiments are going on that like people didn't know about until like now. It's like every time the new season of Stranger Things comes out, like people like get reminded about that. So like because we were all talking about it, and like I heard it when the first season first dropped, but then like I didn't know everything about it. But excuse me, one of my coworkers was like who's like really into like Long Island history, like told me about it. So like it's like weird that like that's like an hour away from me. So it's like
That's
weird.
awesome, man.
Yeah,
wow.
There's a lot of stuff on like the most famous thing like on Long Island is like the Amityville horror kind of house.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah.
Like
that's a big one.
Yeah, it's almost like I've been at like past that house. It's
oh wow.
Yeah. I live kind of near it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. And
oh,
it's like,
dude.
Yeah, it was a little it's exaggerated a lot, but like
of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of but like because we were talking about it again at like my job, like after all like we're talking about all the horror stuff. There's a lot more horror haunted places on Long Island, but like and because of like the book and everything with Amityville, it kind of skyrocketed, and like that's why it's like the most famous thing, but there's like more like haunted horror stories on Long Island just that. But I don't think it'll ever like be that type of popularity because of all the movies and the books and like them selling all like that entire concept kind of thing. But yeah, it's cool to think about. Like I've lived here like all my life and I've never, you know, known everything about where I live. So like now I'm like learning it. I'm like, oh, okay, like, that's so cool.
I was thinking about visiting the Texas Chainsaw gas station this summer. Making a trip down there because they have a little thing to visit, which would be really cool.
Yeah, maybe we can go visit Amityville Horror, Blake.
Oh my god! You know they had the Scream House, you know,
Stu's house.
Stu's house, yeah, available on Airbnb last Halloween.
Oh my god!
I know. I was just thinking. I was like, listen, if I could stay there just for 1 hour.
Where is it? Do you know?
I don't remember. I used to know off the top of my head. By the way, Sith, I will say, you do love horror. I'm not going to spoil anything because I just finished it yesterday. I was sick when it came out. I finished it yesterday. I can say without a doubt that this season is the most horror heavy they've gone.
Oh yeah,
it is very dedicated to it. It is a more mature season overall. I think this one might call on you. I think this one might be the one for you. It might be.
Yeah.
Also, thank you. Wow, that's so nice. For the cool kids now.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're discussing all this. But yeah, no, I definitely to add to what Jayla said. For like people who are like weren't crazy about like the first season, like yes, like if you don't want to watch the other two seasons, you can do like a recap. But like definitely season 4 is definitely like worth it because like I knew it'd be like different, but in horror based, I didn't think that they'd go like that hard in it. But like, yeah, 4 and 7 best episodes of the entire.
That was the biggest thing lacking for me. I wanted to see more horror. I like the sci-fi elements, and that's mostly what the show has been, with horror elements every now and then. But this season is like there's a monster in there.
I think every season the monster gets better, but this one's like the best one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I obviously can't say anything, but this season definitely has a new feel to it with its horror. I will say that. I noticed taste of it towards the end of season 3. This starts off with it, and you're like, okay, we're full on. We're full in for the ride on
this show is maturing with the main characters, and I think that was the smartest thing for them to do.
Yeah. No, you could definitely feel that.
So, as we start to wrap it up here, you guys, I will ask you one last question, or maybe two. You know how we do these things, so you just kind of go on deep dives. First, I want to ask for you. I think I've already asked like similar question, like your favorite subgenre. We talked about our favorite aspects of horror. what's just like your kind of like go-to horror movie when you're in a mood for a horror movie? You're like, I just want to watch a horror movie. What's kind of one that you always throw on? And what is one of the horror pieces of media, whether it's a game or a movie or a show that's coming out this year that you're looking forward to? Sabrina, would you like to start us off? I know you're
Sure.
a newbie, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
See, okay. Before watching what me and Blake have watched, me for the first time,
Okay.
I think I would have said like probably like any of the like Halloween movies, just because like I was like, oh yeah, you know, whatever. But like, even though I'm like kind of like new to it, like I have to say Evil Dead. It's just like I'm so like obsessed with that universe, and like I just want to consume everything with it. Like I want to pick up all the comics and like read everything. Like I'm so mad that it took me this long to figure it out, but like everything with Ash, like he's just, oh my god, he's like my favorite. That's my definitely my favorite horror movie franchise. And my favorite horror movie character is Ash Williams. Like just everything about it is just so cool, and I'm like, I want to know, I want everything. And like I don't know, I hate that I'm so late to the party though. But I think that like
I don't think you can ever be too late to get
yeah.
into something.
Like I know I just watched it all, so like I want to say like because I haven't like rewatched it, but like I could definitely see myself like watching that casually, like anytime, just because I'm like, and I would say specifically Army of Darkness. I just love it. Out of all of them, I don't know what it still feels like Evil Dead, but it's just like I don't know, something about Army of Darkness was just
It's probably the most fun out of all
It
of them.
is so
Yeah.
much fun. It is
it's such a good movie. Like it's to me, that's the best one. Like
It's a
they're all
very
great,
easy movie to
but
watch.
like just something about Army of Darkness, like when Blake was like, "Oh, this that was like wasn't really a fan." I was like, "Why? Why? Like this one's like the best. This is the best." Like I don't know.
I had to have been in a bad mood that day because I did not give Army of Darkness a chance.
Yeah.
And so we did this little
I'm
little
so
marathon.
glad you gave
Yeah,
this
before
like a
we
chance.
finished Ash vs Evil Dead, I would say that was like peak Ash. But like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
between Army of Darkness and Ash vs Evil Dead, that's like peak Ash, like in his prime. Like, and I know like in his prime, but like just like the best he's been.
Absolutely. And all of my favorite one-liners are from
Oh
are
god, I
from
know.
that one.
Oh
Yeah.
man, this show like it was so bad. Like oh my god, just like the fact that it like had all the famous lines like sprinkled around the seasons. That like I got groovy more than I thought. We'd only get groovy like once, but we got it a couple times, and I was so happy.
I can't ever let Sabrina meet Bruce Campbell because when we finished Army of Darkness and it ended on "Hail to the King, baby," as he hit that girl, I was like, God, no.
Can you blame her? I mean,
the look on her face when he just grabs her and is like, "Hail to the King, baby." I was like, no.
Wait, that's why I was like, and I would like, I don't know if I can meet him right now. I gotta like wait a little bit because I'd probably be like, please, just say groovy, please.
He'd be like, no.
please, crumb of groovy, please.
Yeah, please. Like, I just, oh man, that's all
the
I
man
want.
just drips charisma. He really does.
I love him.
He
I love
is
him.
pure charisma. Pizza Papa always gets paid.
Pizza.
And I love seeing his stunt work in the Evil Dead movies. He was just fighting himself all the time, you know, making himself flip over. It's an insane ride. It's one of those movies that like if someone sits you down and like, all right, can you describe the events of Army of Darkness to me? And you're just kind of like,
wow. Well, it all started with a group of friends.
Yeah. Well, like it's like even when after Army of Darkness, and it was like, what was it, 30 years after, and then like Ash vs Evil Dead started, and it's like, even though like Bruce Campbell's older, like the stunts and just like fucking just did it, and I was just like, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, Bruce Campbell is just horror icon. My favorite horror icon.
The icon.
He is number one for me. I love him. I love what he brings to the table.
And like I said, I'm so mad that I'm late to the party because like, okay.
Oh, you're not late at all.
Well, no. So I saw Doctor Strange, and I was like, and so many people asked me, like, "Oh, what do you think of his cameo?" And I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "I really like didn't know that was him."
My dad was like shaking my entire body because he knew I was
Blake had to tell me who like that because I remember hearing because we all talked about it, that he was gonna make a cameo or like the speculation that he was gonna make a cameo, and I was like, I heard the name, didn't really like know him the way I do now, and I was like, okay, and then when he showed up, I was like, okay, whatever. And then like when he did the post credits scene, I was like, and like a lot of people just asked me about it, and I was like, oh, that was him. Oh,
It's
yeah,
my
I
boy.
didn't get it. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
But I get it now. So I'm like, I feel like, so somebody mentioned to me, it's like, I don't know if is it considered a spoiler, but like that the Delta's like in like every movie, and like even in Doctor Strange.
What's a spoiler?
Oh, the car, his car.
Yeah,
Sam Raimi's car.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not a spoiler.
So I'm like, I actually didn't even know that, like, it's in like every like movie. Like I didn't notice that it was in Doctor Strange until like someone pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like,
yeah.
And
it's
then
one of my favorite Raimi things.
just like remember like watching Doctor Strange, and then watching, I think it was Evil Dead 2. Like the way they shot one scene, I was like, that's literally like, that's like Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my god, it's just Evil Dead and it's Marvel.
There were a ton of Evil Dead references.
Dude, the bit in the beginning, right before she like grunge walk, whatever.
Yeah, when she put like her finger in like the water, I was like, oh my god. And like when I saw Ash do that, I was like, oh my god. I was like, that's literally Wanda. Like,
yeah.
I was like, Sam Raimi, I see what you did there. I see
And
what you did there.
Right before that was when like they're like all huddled up and screaming, and then it's like Dutch angle, zoom in onto the door slamming.
Yeah.
That's very Evil Dead.
The hand rising out of the ground.
The hand rising out of the ground, and like the twitch as it like went.
Oh my god, yeah.
When Zombie Strange is talking, yeah, that was perfect.
The wink, Zombie Strange winking.
Oh my god, that freaks me out. But like, oh my god,
you're Raimi.
I give her America Chavez like credit, because like if I had to like act with that like that look open like the whole time.
That abrupt ending with the third eye, that was a Sam Raimi ending.
Oh god,
just very abrupt. Like, what the hell was that? Just cut to credits.
Raimi being Raimi. I have a feeling that we're gonna have a big lead up to the Evil Dead Rise release. Man, oh gosh,
we'll have to go back and rewatch all the movies again.
Oh god,
new one comes
absolutely. I have my channel on hand, ready to go, guys.
That's right, it's right there.
Oh, we can totally do a watch party. That's something that we're going to talk about tonight to hopefully start doing as well.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely.
I'm down for that.
Sabrina, before I pass on to Blake, do you have any horror things are coming out soon that's kind of piquing your interest?
I'm trying to think. What was the
probably Halloween Ends.
Halloween
Yes,
Ends.
that of course.
There's Black Phone. There's I know. There's Resident Evil show. There is The Quarry, the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's more. I'm blanking out, unfortunately.
I'm curious to see
Nope. Oh my god, Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I'm curious about. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's like another one that I saw that I was like, ooh.
Which one were you curious about?
Nope.
Nope.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah, is that July or is that this month?
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be great. We have to do a theory video on that one before it comes out. That'd be
absolutely
great.
I will stay away from any trailer that comes out for that movie.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Jordan Peele hasn't revealed a thing in the trailer. Trust me, I've
tried.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some trailers, and I don't.
I've tried. This is the one time I've tried to get a taste of what's going on because it's Jordan Peele. I'm like, I want to know.
It's gonna be good. That's all.
Get Out. We got the idea of what's going on.
I've never seen Us, but I've seen
Us. Freaks me out. Us, and there's something like, I know Us was hit or miss for people, but there's something about Us that like made me so deeply, like seriously uncomfortable. I can't watch it more than once.
Us is a modern horror classic. I think
it makes me like legitimately queasy. It makes me so queasy. I can't.
Has he made anything else besides Us and Get Out so far?
Well, he has his own production company, so technically he's made a lot, but directing wise, just Get Out and Us.
Okay.
Monkey Paw Productions. They did Lovecraft Country. They did the new Candyman.
So yeah, me and you. I want to watch Us because I haven't seen that. I've heard mixed things about that.
Right. And yeah,
Us is more. It's more horror than Get Out, and I know you were a little iffy on Get Out.
It's uncomfortable for me. I don't know. Maybe I just have a deep fear of doppelgangers, but it makes me feel so unsettled.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Yes, he did have
Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone. I haven't heard good things about that.
I know. I need to check it out for myself because I know I like seeing what's up.
Yeah.
I like seeing what he's up to. Geez, you made me lose my train of thought. Go ahead, somebody. But
Not, actually, like, I feel like if I had like a list, I'd be like, oh yeah, except I just like I
I
don't
need to
know.
get
It's
used to
so
making lists. I make lists
just
for everything else. I really
no of like
do.
what's coming out this year because I'm like I've seen trailers, but I don't remember everything.
Oh, I can share that with you. I actually have a list for that. I can send that your way as
Yeah,
soon as
please
we get
do because I'm
wrapped up
like
here.
it's one of those things that like I won't like. I try to pay attention to movies, but I'm like I don't know. Like I get confused. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see that, and I'll forget about it. I'm like, oh,
It
and I'll get too
happens the best
busy.
of
Excuse
us.
me, busy to be able to watch it. Trying to think. Was there like a horror movie?
There's a new Cronenberg movie coming out.
What is it?
Was it Crimes of the Future?
Yeah.
Crimes of the Future is coming out, which you might be interested in. Has Kristen Stewart in it. Looks really good. Looks really
Viggo
freaky.
Mortensen.
I've heard about it. Okay.
I don't. Those are the big ones that are popping up in my head. We already named Halloween. Nope. Resident Evil. We have the second half of Stranger Things. We have
Surprise.
I don't really know anything about Resident Evil. I've heard like that it's a franchise, but I don't know anything like what
I'm
it's
sure
about.
the show is just starting from scratch. So
I
probably
I
go
think
with
this got
Is it a
canceled, by
zombie?
the way.
zombies,
Yeah.
monsters.
I think Nosferatu got canceled as far as I remember.
Robert Eggers unfortunately said that's not really happening for him anymore.
Yeah, which
That
is
broke my heart.
I know. Geez, yeah.
I like when they like remake like those like I don't know how to put that. Remember, I was trying to figure out the category to like put those kind of characters in, like
Yeah, Nosferatu.
Wolfman.
I would say classic movie monsters because Nosferatu is just Dracula. So
yeah, and like I saw the Invisible Man like a while
yeah,
like,
we
a bit
just
ago.
watched that.
That was really good. That was
the
really
remake
good.
was fantastic for sure.
I loved that. I freaking love that so much.
Because of all these new horror movies coming out, I feel like Blumhouse doesn't really get talked about too much these days.
Yeah.
Neither does Neon.
Neon, yeah.
Neon. You know, we talk
it's
about
hard,
it
yeah, when there's so many movies dropping at the same time. It's like one can overshadow the other.
One movie, and this can answer your second question, Jayla, the one I'm looking forward to, which is getting no buzz, the Hellraiser reboot, which I'm
Is that
very
coming out
excited
this year?
for. Yeah, it's supposed to be 2022. They've already wrapped filming.
God.
It's supposed to drop on Hulu, I believe, is where it's going.
There's another horror movie on Hulu that's coming out. Oh my God, you're like awaking a bunch of things.
Oh, I mean, so since
a new
we
Predator
talked about
movie's
it,
coming out.
Prey,
it's considered a horror movie. I'm excited for Prey.
I'm excited for Prey.
Prey's definitely a horror movie.
Predator. Well, it's Predator, so I'm like,
yeah.
Predator, Prey.
That teaser just came out.
I kept thinking it was a show. Like, I don't know why. I kept thinking it was a show, and like the fact that it's a movie like doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, okay, then why don't they just release in theaters? I thought it was because it was on a streaming service. Remember, the longest time, I still think it's a show.
Yeah, Alien's getting a show. That's probably what you're thinking of.
It's okay. I get Alien and Predator mixed up. Still,
I don't think so.
Day.
I really don't.
Prey's a movie. Alien's getting a show.
See, like Prey would have been made more sense as a show. I don't know. Whatever. Every time
Prey
I think about it, I'm like,
intense from the tiny bit we saw.
Yeah, that teaser was great.
It's a teaser. It's a proper teaser. It's what we need.
It was 40 seconds. It gave you what you need to know.
It's all I need. This is gonna be like I'm gonna sound like they're like an old lady telling kids to get off her lawn. Just do that. I don't need too much.
Because of that teaser, so many people are like, they didn't show the Predator, and I'm like, do you not know what the Predator looks like?
I don't want
you know what he looks like.
I don't want to see what they're doing. Just let me watch it. Let me see for myself. Just have some fun. Have some confidence in what you're making.
Character, it's like you don't need to see.
It's like they didn't show Vader in the trailer for Kenobi. You know what he looks like. You're gonna watch it.
They just showed his chest piece. That was it.
Because
you knew, like, and like, I think the reason that they showed that not only just because they wanted to show like something of Vader was because to like let you know it's like also the suit from Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Right.
And that's not off topic because Vader was a monster.
He was.
in this episode.
Best horror movie moment. It's like a horror movie. I've said this, like, I have mixed things about Rogue One, but like one of the best part of that was just Vader being as ruthless as he's been.
That was a horror movie scene.
Oh yeah, that was a horror movie moment for sure. That was
That's what Kenobi's
terrifying.
like right now. Like, oh my god.
That's a topic that I actually did want to bring up for an episode on its own: horror in geek movies and comics.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Marvel,
absolutely. I
Star
would
Wars,
love
That
to.
means
DC.
we could talk about the Batman.
Yes, it
The
means we can talk
Batman.
all about the Batman.
That was the 7.
Scarecrow's are my favorite villains, so
Oh.
Well, I was
absolutely.
gonna say also just the Batman because like it definitely has such heavy horror movie
Oh
elements.
yeah, absolutely. You know, it reminds me a lot of, and we talked about this. It reminds me a lot of Zodiac.
Yeah.
A lot of Zodiac, a lot of Seven, a lot of
Oh
those
my god, a
vibes.
lot of Seven.
Mhm.
A little bit of Prisoners, a little bit.
a little bit of Prisoners. I'm sorry.
She watched Prisoners like right before the Batman came out. I see the vision.
You just look. I'm just saying. There's a character in Prisoners that just does not have a good time.
Yeah. Well, I was one of those things that
all.
like the one that I was really like trying to like watch before like because when like one of like trailers for the Batman dropped, everyone's like, oh my god, it's such Seven vibes, and I was like, what does that mean? I was like I've heard of the movie, but like I didn't. Like I've seen that scene where it's like what's in the box, but I never knew the context of it. And I saw it. And I was like,
7 is a horror movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't like when people say that Seven is horror adjacent because we call Silence of the Lambs horror, then we can call
Yeah.
Seven horror. But that's
that
another
is
thing. Yeah,
one of the bleakest endings to any movie.
yeah, it's
Easily.
hard to top that and The Mist. Are two that
Yes.
I frequently think about as far as bleak movie endings.
The Mist would mess you up.
Yeah, I watched that when I was way too young.
what's that about?
The Mist.
The Mist. Oh,
Without saying too much, The Mist is about a mist that is surrounding this town, and there's these people that are stuck in a supermarket, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck in a supermarket. They
Is
can't
it
go
like
into the mist.
Cloverfield?
It's a Night Shyamalan. It's a Night Shyamalan movie. They can't go into the mist because there is monsters. There's dangers. There's dangers in the mist. And that's all you get to know. You have to go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Just add that to the list, Blake.
But don't watch it on the day you're sad.
No, that's
Please.
it's a very uplifting ending, basically.
Wait, don't watch what?
Don't watch it on a bad day.
Don't watch it on a bad day. It's
Wait,
not like
how do I know it's to watch it on a good day? Like
it's been a rough day. I'm tired. I'm gonna watch The Mist. No,
If you're having a good day, we'll ruin it and watch The Mist.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know, take your good day down. You see a good movie, but it comes
Thomas
at a
Jane
cost.
in that movie, right? He's the lead.
Who is?
Thomas Jane.
I think so.
Pretty sure that's him. Punisher.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have a time. You'll have a time, Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a time. But Blake, what is your go-to? You're like, I want to watch a horror movie. I need something to throw on. I'm just in the mood for something spooky. What's your go-to?
I love putting on the classic slashers like Freddy, Jason, Michael, because I grew up with them. They're the ones, like I said, that got me into horror. So if I'm ever just like in a mood, I'll pick whatever the first one is that comes out. My favorite Friday the 13th is part 6. I end up putting that one on a lot. It's just they know how to have fun and they know what they are. When you're on part 6 and it opens with like a James Bond parody, and instead of like shooting the camera, Jason just slashes it with the blood coming down.
I love it when they like just let it be what it is.
So campy, and I love it. They're fun. They're easy movies to watch. That's how I describe them.
Well, yeah, like you're a type that kind of have stuff on the background, like, and you don't have to entirely like watch it. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people that's like I have it on, like I feel weird not watching it. Like if I'm gonna put a movie on, like I'm gonna watch it.
If
like,
it's good, it gets
noise.
your attention, and you end up watching it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything else looking forward to besides obviously Evil Dead, obviously Hellraiser? Is there anything else that you're just like that one? I'm all in.
I'm very excited for season 2 of Chucky, which is dropping.
Yes,
that's another one.
Mm-hmm. Season 1 was so much better than it had any right to be.
It was so good. I was gonna say that I like that they're doing like they're trying to do like the horror movie like shows, but like of like classic characters. Like I don't know if they did anything else. Like I'd be like, I think I'd be on board with that especially after Chucky.
Oh yeah.
Like I like that they switched it up instead of doing a movie and like they did a show because it was like, oh my god, it's crazy good.
It's what the franchise needed.
Definitely.
Absolutely. No, I fully agree, guys. My go-to is not a surprise. It's honestly the most Jayla answer I could give. It's still Scream. I put on Scream all the time. I just do. It's my horror comfort movie. I love it. It's my favorite. I adore that movie probably way too much.
Mhm.
But as far as things I'm looking forward to, probably Black Phone. I've been keeping an eye on that. I feel
Mhm.
like that one's gonna be one that's gonna get people talking, and something that we talked about earlier when we were talking about possibly live streaming eventually. The Quarry.
Yes.
I don't know if either of you saw Until Dawn at all.
No.
Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown because I love this game so much. Thank you so much for joining, by the way. Um, absolutely, you're right. Yeah, thank you for joining, man. I hope to see you next time. And we're wrapping up. I'm gonna give you guys Until Dawn rundown, and we'll get on out of here. But Until Dawn is basically this game. It's a PlayStation exclusive for now. I think it might be on PC. And basically, you are playing a horror movie. To the point where it asks you questions in the beginning, like, what are you afraid of? And you answer them. And, there's an in-story reason why you get asked these questions, but that's another thing. And you're making decisions. You're going through the story as different teenagers. You play through different characters. And sometimes your decisions lead to them dying. It's very much literally like playing through a horror movie. And then this upcoming one is a expansion of that. There's like 10 minimum ways each character can die.
I watched a video on the Quarry
Yeah.
last night that kind of broke down what it's all about, and it's very intriguing. Those 10 to 12 deaths for each
10
character.
to 12.
Awesome.
Yeah, Until Dawn is one of my favorite games. It's so good. It's such a fun story. And like, there's a lot of games that's like, oh, your choices matter, make your own story, blah, 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 blah. But I can say without a doubt that Until Dawn genuinely felt like I was playing a horror movie, and I feel like this upcoming one is the same.
Mhm.
But yeah, we made it, guys. We made it through our first episode.
This was a great first episode.
We lived.
Yeah.
We got into the
Tons of
groove of
fun.
things. We will be announcing the schedule of what's coming up next. Now that we've established this, we have a good vibe for it. We're getting ready.
We found our footing.
Absolutely.
Playing around with this this app.
Yeah. Blake, Sabrina, you guys want to give your socials for a follow just in case anyone wants to check you out?
Oh yeah, my ad is right there, right in my name.
Yep, that's why we kept our ads right there.
You want my great tweets.
All the great tweets, all the great Twitters, all the great Twitters. Join us tomorrow on here for Geek Vibe Nation. We're going to be covering Star Wars, right?
Yes.
We're covering Star Wars. Yeah, we're covering Star Wars tomorrow. We should know our own schedule, but it's fine.
No, it would be like Star Wars and probably like everything like news.
No, I think we're not doing a GVN talk. I think we're doing strictly Star Wars tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Then yes.
Join us tomorrow and just be surprised at what we talk about.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, but it's gonna be great either way. There's some people joining. It's a full cast. It's gonna be great, and we will see you there. We will see you next Thursday, and with our next subject. Which, Blake, do you want to announce it?
I will. It is going to be a very groovy episode.
It
We're
will
break
be
down
a very groovy episode.
all of the
excited.
Wait. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Blake and Sabrina, for trusting me, for throwing this crazy idea at you and joining.
Oh my god, of course.
It's been so much fun.
Thank
you,
you
everybody, for joining. Yeah, we are in it. It's the first of many, and thank you everyone for joining us. And we will see you guys next time. Stay spooky.